you want me to share the link?
All right, we are live here at Data Mastery, Marketing for Modern Growth. Extremely excited about this episode. We have Mohan Gulati, like gelato, but with a U, right?
That's right.
He is one of the founders of Thinkrr.Ai, a game-changing voice AI company. I mean, we started implementing this. Frankly, we slept on it for a little too long. If you ask me, I was like, seeing Raul and Cody and these guys start using it. And I'm like, we'll see what happens. And then it was just like, shit, it's kicking myself in the ass for not starting to use it sooner. But Mohan here we were just going over his resume, and I don't want to spend the next 15 minutes going over his resume because we probably could, but software engineer, developer, consultant to large companies like Starbucks and Nike and everything under the sun for the past 25 years you've been in the space?
25 years of kind of engineering experience in the technical field. So I call myself a technologist first and foremost. But, in the last years building, massive software custom projects for Fortune 500 companies across the globe, working on bespoke software that can be used for them. So that gives me a lot of experience in what I'm doing. And then most recently, in the last 4 years, pre-ChatGPT, I was in the AI space and been working, in the boardrooms with various people in the form of a consultant, really talking through a lot of what's going on with AI. And what happened when ChatGPT came out is all of a sudden a lot of people realized this has got to be everybody's, plan, strategy, and what are we going to do with it? And what I was noticing, Jason, was that people are just not moving forward. They were spending $100,000, $200,000 on these small mini projects. These are Fortune 500 companies, so they don't drop $100,000 on a project of this magnitude unless they're just trying to figure out something out. They usually spend more like, they'll invest millions of dollars into something. Mm-hmm. So what they were trying to say here is basically, we need to go back to our CEO with some kind of, here's our plan. So here's a minimal investment and let's do something. And they were really struggling with, how do we move forward? What do we do next? And part of the magic is like, everything is moving really, really fast in the space of AI. And that's when I realized, I'm not going to sleep on this opportunity. I got started in last January. So January 2024, officially started Thinkrr.Ai.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, in terms of like voice AI, because before we pulled the trigger, we went and looked at, multiple other different kind of softwares and applications for voice AI. And I mean, AI is all over the place, but specifically voice AI. And it is the humanness to it, or how real it sounds, but then just how easy you made it to use is what's crazy. Like, I can literally build out a voice AI bot in, 20 minutes or less. I mean, and that's me testing it and kind of going through it. And mind you, it takes fine tuning. The client has to give their feedback and stuff, but it's crazy how good it is, but then how easy it is to use, which is one of the things that really stands out to me. But let's talk about like where's voice AI at right now? Like, where do you see it? What industries is it kind of like killing it in, so to speak? And then we can flip over and, the kind of the second half, talk about where do you think it's going over the next 12 to 24 months. But, as the leader as one of the leaders in the space, where do you really see it shining right this second?
So first of all, thank you very much for the recognition of the platform being really easy and plug and play. Is how we like to describe it. We built it, specifically for businesses. This is not meant for a technical audience. It's meant for somebody who's in the business world who wants to leverage voice AI and get going, like you said, literally in 10, 15, 20 minutes max, right? Being there and using the software, using the actual voice AI agent. So use it for what, right? Using it for inbound and outbound calls, right? First and foremost. And then now with the advent of our latest invention, which is the web widget, also on your website, making your website into something that is intelligent, smart, and able to answer and book, your appointments on your behalf, answer the questions your clients have, and that's us just getting started. So your question, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, you literally, every website, you can have the most basic generic website, and it's now literally a smart site with a 24/7 concierge. That's, it's like in the days of scrolling through a website and having to read and find what you're looking for is gone. You literally just click a button, start communicating, and getting all that information in a very human-like conversation. It's remarkable.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that experience is surreal. What we noticed is when we started to put it onto our website, and we were, first kind of always, whatever we do, we make it for ourselves, we use it ourselves, make sure it works, and then make it available for all of our customers. And we noticed a 70% pickup rate in terms of the people staying on the site. Right,
Yeah.
the duration just increased tremendously. And the number of leads that we got just started to go higher and higher. And what started happening is all of our demos became shorter and our sales calls became shorter, because by the time we were in those calls, people had already experienced, had talked, and had literally sometimes up to half an hour worth of conversation with the AI, literally just getting to experience it. The best is like when people, I tried to break it, I tried to talk to it, I tried to do this, and it's answered every question I had. It's like, that's a very rewarding feeling, first and foremost. But second of all, it's the truth of where websites are going, right? The ability to help your clients get all the basic questions without having to go search for it in your website is tremendous, right? And that's what our goal is, to make it really, really easy for them to do that. Now, when I look at what's happening today and what's kind of, to answer your question about where is voice AI today, where is it being used, and where is it successful? Voice AI today is entering a very interesting space because it is exploding, and we're seeing that probably there's like 8.2 billion people in the world today, right? By the end of 2025, there's going to be 8.4 billion voice agents. 8.4, more than the human population.
That's kind of scary, but
right? So when you think of that, it's mind-boggling, right? It means, but there's a very subtle point here, is that our comfort level with voice AI is growing every single day. The acceptance of the technology is growing more and more every day. And that's something that's changed from like maybe a year ago to what we're experiencing now, right? People are much more like, yeah, we have to use this technology. It's just too efficient for us not to use anymore. Sort of like what you said in the beginning of the show, you were sleeping on this a little bit, right? And that's not unusual. A lot of people in the beginning were like, I don't know, it feels robotic, it feels like this. Like, even if it didn't, it was just this kind of adverse effect of like, let's not get started. And to me, that was something that I expected to change, and is changing very much right now. And people are feeling very comfortable. In fact, they're feeling more comfortable. You can talk to a voice AI and be completely authentic. You can be yourself. It won't get mad at you. If you're mad, in a bad mood, it will still be pleasant. It shows up all the time, right?
Yeah.
And it's consistent on branding, right? So whatever the message is that you want to do and the mission you set on it, it stays on point. And this is something that's really, really important for any business that's out there, is how do I make sure that an employee having a bad day is not going to affect how the experience is, in how my clients experience my brand, right? And that you can control now, which is a huge, huge advantage.
Yeah, I just always talk about how it never needs a bathroom break and stuff. But yeah, I forgot about it. It completely avoids the bad days, right? They're always pleasant. They're always, upbeat. And yeah, I mean, I've been trying to break the thing, just testing it. I mean, we put together 25 plus demos already, and, have some clients starting to implement it. And I'm the one that's constantly testing it. And I ask like stupid ass, like random questions to try to throw it off. And it always circles back around. And it's just like, it's remarkable.
It has a sense of humor too, right?
Yeah, a slight sense of humor, like, and it's, yes, I forget the exact, I said something to, we call ours Emma. I don't know why I like that name. It sticks out,
cool.
But yeah, I said something, I keep trying to throw it off, like, hey, are you available for a date, tonight, or something like that? And just be like, hey, well, I'm flattered, but unfortunately, I'm just a virtual AI concierge, and, I'm not available for a date. That might be awkward or something. But yeah, it has like an actual personality, which is just cool and remarkable and spooky all at the same time.
So, like, you kind of touched on like where things are kind of heading to. It's like, the voice AI experience will become more empathetic, become more human-like. It'll become better at handling complex conversations. And I'll save it a little bit later, but ask me where I think things are going, because there's some very interesting developments that I see on the horizon.
Do you see any? I mean, I know it's literally everything from like an inbound call at a chiropractic or medical
Yeah.
office, outbound call for a financial service planner who wants to schedule
Sure.
the next appointment, any type of home services businesses. So let me ask maybe an easier question: is there any businesses that you don't think it applies to?
I think you wouldn't use it for anything that's legally binding, right?
Yes. So like
Yeah.
we actually did a demo for a PI attorney that we're working with, but it's very, it's all in the program where it's, you're not offering financial advice. It's
Yeah.
literally, and this is what, like, we've had a few clients where it's like, well, we're real big on customer service and, we really important the brand. And it's like, look, she's not closing deals, or she's not a salesperson. And this is the way I approach it. Maybe other people approach it different, but she's not looking to sell anything. She's
Yeah.
looking to deliver an initial remarkable level of
Yeah.
customer service and personability up front, so they're not stuck scrolling for a website, not just watching some VSL video that you did 2 years ago that you're still trying to reuse and stuff, but giving that personable experience. And then when it comes time to deliver that actual piece of advice or close the deal or turn that person into a client, now she's booking the appointment. Now she's doing the live transfer. Like we're talking to a lot of political candidates right now where it's like, once, if she gets, I don't want to say stuck, but if somebody's interested, they want to donate, they want to volunteer, then it's like, hey, you can have, instead of having 600 people in some outbound dialers, outbound center trying to initiate that initial contact, you have one AI bot, and then you put 4 or 5 humans in an actual office that just deal with the live transfers, that just deal with any problems that come up. But it's that initial contact. It's not the end result, so to speak. But I mean, it can literally make the outbound callers can make 100 calls per minute. That's right, is what you had mentioned, and 6,000 calls per hour. I mean, you would need 600 people sitting in a call center somewhere to hang with that, or to even compete with that, where instead you can have one AI bot and 5 or 6 people in a call center and accomplishing the same thing.
Well, so I love your enthusiasm. You're absolutely right. Every use case you've talked about is absolutely right. But here's where we're seeing things that are in addition to what you talked about, right? So people can easily identify, look at where am I making phone calls today, or where am I receiving phone calls today, insert voice AI. Really, really simple. But then look at it from not an ROI perspective, but from a way to actually expand, to do something new, right? That you're not doing today. In other words, that's where innovation lies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, if you have a team and you have an event which is based on people coming to that event on a regular basis, and you kind of call your team up, you no longer have to the worst thing is you show up to the event, you got 3 of your team members show up because it's not being fully populated. The success of the event is driven by the amount of people that show up. Financial services is a really, really good space where this is very, very true. They're using voice AI to remind people. Let's say you're going through a process where you're going through a certification process and you want to make sure people are following up. You can automate that entire flow so that reminders are set up. There's even like people have training classes. They remind people before the training classes. These are new efficiencies that they didn't do before. It would have required hiring somebody whose job was just that. Now they don't have to hire that person, but they actually are doing something they didn't do before and actually getting a higher percentage of people converting and getting their certification. That's massive. That's game changing, right? Because that's when your business becomes much, much more, especially when you're a small business where you're either a solopreneur or you have just a few people that you're working with. You need to, present and work in a way that you now have this large team. And here's the truth. If you're not doing it, the guy down the street's going to do it.
100%.
All right.
100%.
So like I tell people, AI is not going to replace your job or replace your business, but the people that are using AI absolutely will.
Absolutely. It's I mean, I think Alvin, my business partner, was at your live event here in Southern California, and he was talking to a podiatrist who has, I think,
Yeah.
4 or 5 offices, and he tracks all of his calls. But I think he had said between the receptionist and then off-hour calls, he had
Yeah.
missed like 1,200 calls in the last 12 months. He's averaging missing 100 calls per month.
Yeah.
Each missed call could be a potential like $1,000 to a couple $1,000 a year. So he's like, heck, even if I just answered those calls and converted 20% of them, 20% of that 1,200, those 200 people into $1,000 client, that's $200,000 worth of potential revenue this gentleman missed out on that now can be completely avoided by having a voice AI taking all of his intake, never needing a bathroom break, never needing a second off. And yeah, I mean, and that's just a local, podiatrist company with a couple
Do
of
you know what the actual number is, Jason?
No.
It's 125K lost revenue that is estimated because of missed calls in USA.
Oh, per like small business is what you're saying?
Yeah. So that's massive. And you multiply that by the number of small to medium-sized businesses in the United States, and all of a sudden you have about a $500 million opportunity.
Yeah, because if your average small business is doing, let's just say $500,000 a year, $500 to $1,000 a year worth of revenue, that's 10 to 25% of revenue that's lost. I mean, that makes or break a business. I mean, their businesses could literally have the potential to stay in business now.
No, what do people do? You know what? I give a call. You don't answer the phone. What am I going to do? I'm going to call the next person on my list, right? I'm not waiting. I'm not like, nobody's married to anybody. You've got a job to get done. You want to get your roof fixed. You want to call a plumber. You want whatever you're looking for. If you're looking for a real estate, it doesn't matter. If you need somebody now, that person doesn't pick up. You don't wait, right? Unless, of course, you have a relationship. But you absolutely want to be the one answering a call. AI will answer your call 100% of the time.
Yeah.
And not only
in a good mood, representing your business exactly how you want it represented.
And it will qualify your calls. So if you get a call that comes in that's a solicitor, it can handle that. It can navigate those calls without ever coming on your calendar, without you having to pick up that phone call, right? Which is, even if you pick it up and say, sorry, I'm not interested, that's puts you in a bad mood. No more bad moods, okay, guys? Just be happy, right? So all of that can be done. You can qualify people. Guess what else you can do? You can qualify and you can gather information at the same time. So, hey, calling for a real estate person. Fantastic. Okay, so looking interested in that property that you were showing on your page. Fantastic. Okay. Do you already have a real estate agent that you're working with? No. Fantastic. Qualified, right? Have you already been pre-approved for a mortgage? Yeah, yes, I have. Okay, fantastic. So now it's a hyper qualified lead, right? And then you can ask a question like, fantastic. Are you looking to, this is information gathering. This is no more qualification. Are you looking to make a purchase within the next, 2 to 4 weeks? Yes, I am. Fantastic. Now you know vital information that you can use with AI, and in your CRM and in your tool that you're using to gather, you can now move them into a different funnel and have a whole different set of slew of automations or follow-ups and prioritization that you can do. You can get that person onto a special calendar, right?
Yeah.
And this can happen all in real time with you not having to interfere at all. All you have to do is just show up, and now you've got all this information and do what you do best, which is build that relationship. So all these conversations you're talking about, people saying, oh, I'm in a relationship business. Great. AI is going to enhance that because it's going to give you back more time to invest into the relationship.
I completely agree. It's cool because like using the Emma on our website, I can, I get an email first, right, that says, hey, Emma just had a conversation, and then it'll tell me whether it was positive, neutral, or negative. Yep. And then it will give me a summary, and then literally like clockwork, within 5 minutes, boom, an appointment's booked. So, I mean, it's working in real time. Or honestly, the other demo that floored me was I did it for a Ford dealership.
Yeah.
And I started asking questions like, what's the difference in Ford trucks? Here, Ford F-150 Raptor, Ford F-150, the difference between a Ranger, rugged, smaller, the Maverick. And it was just like it was crazy how in detailed it gets. But, in terms of like even a speed to lead, right? You have a high intake of leads coming in. We're implementing this in a dental implant company here shortly, where this company's spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a month on ads. They have hundreds of leads coming in a day. They have hundreds of incoming calls coming in. And like when that lead comes in, within 30 seconds, like clockwork, Emma can call and reach out to them. They're not waiting for somebody to call. Or in a dealership, for example, is we haven't completely implemented it in a car dealership, but we're talking to some right now where the general manager's like, yeah, it drives me nuts. I literally got to sit there and I see a lead come in. And then I'm like looking up at my sales team, like, who's going to call this person? Like, and you got guys over there sipping on their coffee, BSing around. And it's like, literally every single lead can be called within 15 to 30 seconds. They warm them up. They see what they want. They see what they're interested in. Then boom, now my sales team's just sitting there taking live transfers from people that are already interested and, ready to go. And there's just so many. That's why I was asking, like, kind of what it might even be easier to ask, like what business that it would not work for than it actually would work for. And I think it's, even from an attorney standpoint, one of the PI attorneys that we're working with is super interested in it, and we just built out the demo, and it's like, look, it's programmed. It's not going to give any legal advice. It's just going to gather information, qualify, and then transfer them into that particular attorney. Are they looking for DUI help? Are they looking for personal injury help? Are they looking for a slip and fall case? That type of stuff where it's, again, I struggle to think like what type of business would not want to be using this in the near future.
So let's talk about all the use cases we talked about right now. I can classify them in two categories. One is like internal versus external. So we've been talking a lot about the external use cases, right? Somebody calling in, them calling out, they've got lead to speed. These are obvious use cases. But now if you start looking at internal, think about how you can use voice AI. You can take one of your web widgets, put it on your internal website, and every new employee that you're having come into your company can ask any questions they want to about their onboarding.
Holy shit, I never even thought about this.
Right. There you go. Now
oh my God.
That's coming very soon. That's called our onboarding agent. The second thing that you can do is, let's say you're in sales, right? And you what are you doing? You got to practice and rehearse and get ready. We have a tool already out there that you can use, which is called the sales coach. And you can use that on your internal teams to train them. You
don't have to go find a buddy to role play with.
You don't have to find a buddy. In fact, you can define what is the persona of that person. Is it somebody who's going to be an easy sale? Is it a hard? Is he analytical or she analytical? What's her personality? What's the profession? All that, so you can go, before you go to meet that person on LinkedIn, you can put that personality into the agent, build that all within like less than 10 minutes, the way you just described it, Jason. And now you can have your sales team practice and rehearse on that.
Can you imagine like the HR department that gets 4,500 stupid questions per month? Like, where do I find this? How do I do this? I lost my login. Where do I find my credentials? Like all of that stuff where you can literally have one. You're right. I didn't even think about it. I'm so focused on external. I didn't even think about the internal applications in terms of training, onboarding. That's right. Remarkable. I mean, in these big businesses that, employ, an internal customer service department or an HR department that has, 20, 30 people within that department. I mean,
I'm going to tell you something I haven't told anybody.
All right, cool.
You ready for this? Okay. Take all of your like conversations and meetings that you're having with your things, and internally, the biggest opportunity you have is, how do I like remember what we talked about? How can I replay that conversation? Sure, you can go back and listen to the recording. If you've got one of those, note takers, you can do that. But imagine you could just talk to your handy dandy agent that was present with you there, and they could answer any question. Mohan, did you remember to write Jason that email? It should probably contain these points that you had discussed.
Yeah,
that's all of a sudden you've moved into a world where you're using voice AI in spaces that you haven't seen before. And this is like where things are going to go. It's the innovation that excites me, right? Because Sure, the things that should work, that we should absolutely get those working 100%, right? And that's going to become a crowded space. But where it's going to become very innovative is for people who are doing things that nobody else is doing. Doing
Yep.
things where you're creating new opportunities and showing people how they can work differently. Where you're not replacing their job, you're making them smarter, right? To me, that's the promise of the future. That's where the next 24 months is going to go. And that's what people are going to be seeing the value of it.
Yeah, making them more efficient, right? It's just like, rather than spending time looking for something, having that AI, that voice AI bot right at their fingertips where they can get any answer to any question, whether it's HR, whether it's training, whether it's, hey, how do I help this customer better, right? How do me as a human being provide better customer service to our paying client by utilizing, voice AI to lean on, or, it's, yeah, the whole internal use has completely, I guess I've been so focused on external, but yeah, on an internal use too, that's a game changer.
So the whole point is that our focus is on businesses, right? So we're always thinking of where can you apply this within the business sphere, and how do you make this contextually aware of your business, right? Of your business systems, and tap into that and make these completely useful and, again, plug and play AI solutions that you can use, right? Our goal is to be super simple to use and super easy to deploy. These two things are going to be the ones that differentiate us in the workforce. And my mind, like, I think of how much I should say and should not say. I got Reza sitting here watching me, probably getting nervous that I'm going to say something I
Well,
shouldn't.
yeah, I mean, you don't have to let these secrets out of the bag. We'll
But
have you on. We'll have you on next
little
month
cat
for
out of
another
the bag.
episode.
I'll let a little cat out of the bag. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you something. Imagine, we go traveling a lot. You want to get a short-term rental, right? You go to the place. You want to, before you get there, you get a call. Hey, we got your place ready for you. By the way, the passcode is XYZ. Cool. And anytime you need any help while you're on your stay, just call me. No problem. I'll be your professional concierge. Amazing.
That's so funny. My brother does Airbnb, because that's
Right?
obviously who you're referring to, like Airbnb host, and it drives him nuts. He's just like, it's he's making good money at it, but he's like, it's almost like it's not even worth it because of all of the headaches and dealing with the people. But yeah, if you have a 24/7 concierge ready to go that can field incoming calls and deal with your problems. Hey, where do I find this? Where's the paper towels? Where's this? Where's that? It's just,
Microwave stopped working. Where's to find the laundry detergent? There's an umpteen number of questions that they have to answer. And it's like you have to be almost expectations available around the clock, or you'll get a bad review. What's the worst thing?
I'm gonna start using it on my kids. When my kids ask me a stupid question, talk to my AI.
Dad's not available. Dad, where'd you put this? Over here.
Put that on the workflow. We got to get that done at some point.
I mean, it's kind of funny that you mentioned that, because when I got into voice AI, and I believe voice is the most natural way to kind of create CX, right? Customer experiences.
Mm-hmm.
We called it UX, CX. In the world of CX, voice is something that we just use. The other thing that I feel we use as input is our eyes, vision, right? And I believe that the next year is going to be about the marriage of voice and vision together, right?
Oh, interesting.
And to me, that's the space that really excites me, because I can see applications today that can be augmented, and we can do things that are fantastic. So without saying 100% we're going in that direction, it's definitely something worth exploring and something we have our eyes on for sure.
Yeah. So instead of I know we use, AI actors in some of our videos, like ad videos and stuff, because it's just easier than trying to, work with a human. But now having that, that actual visual person that you can have a conversation with versus just, right now I know, like on the chart widgets, there's a little picture of a female or a male, and you can customize it. And another thing that's cool is like the languages, like, you're not speaks 14 different languages right now or something like that.
I think it's 13, but yeah, pretty close, and more coming, by the way. So
Yeah, which is crazy too. But now you can completely customize the that user, like you're saying, that user experience or consumer experience. So they're actually visually talking to somebody, not just listening with the on a voice. But yeah, that's pretty remarkable. It's
yeah, so
crazy.
if you're somebody who's in the world of running a business and you want to use voice AI, you should absolutely be exploring it, and you should be adopting it and be ready, because then the guy next door is going to do it. But here's the thing: if you're an agency and you're looking for an opportunity to start like getting into a business, and you're looking how to grow your business, add value to your existing clients, or grow your clientele, dude, right now is the time. Don't sleep on this. Voice AI is exploding. It is so easy to show the value proposition. And with the tools that we're building, you can set that up in no time. We have a white label product, you know that. It makes it super easy for you to just go to business and be your own master. Run it. You can be literally set up in, what is it, 1 hour to set up your own demo page and get going.
Yeah, exactly. It's whether you're an agency, a business, I think, and that's the thing too. A lot of these businesses coming from like us being like a data solutions, agency type of provider. It's remarkable where we can go to these clients and, and that's another thing. These clients think it's like, oh, well, getting a voice AI agent, that's going to cost me, $25,000, $10,000 a month. And it's just like, no, it's substantially reasonable. And if you take into account the cost of the employee or employees that you're replacing or adding to more efficiency to, I mean, either way, it's substantially more cost effective, whether you're replacing a couple employees, whether you're making a couple employees more efficient, or a combination of the both. And then you don't have to pay for benefits, you don't have to pay for paid time off, and all that other fun stuff that comes along with being an employer.
So let me ask you a question. You're running your own business. Two things you look at, right? You look at money coming in and money going out. Pretty simple equation, right?
Yep.
So voice AI does both of these things for you. Voice AI can give you the opportunities to reduce your overhead, right? Not necessarily by replacing employees, but by expanding them, right? Which gives you money coming in as well. So you're reducing the amount of other work that they did. You don't have to hire anybody else for that. Reduce costs, right? And then you're magnifying what you can do today and grow your own product offering and your services. You're growing your revenue. You talked about working with dentists, right? They're not open after 5 p.m. most of them, right? They all work 9 to 5. If they get 2 opportunities or 3 opportunities or leads that are picked up between the hours of 5 to the next day in the morning when they open up their offices, the ROI is so easy to explain.
For sure. Instead of sending them to an answering service or a voicemail that, then they get a call back that next day. If you're lucky, whenever your receptionist comes in and gets around to it, and then they get a call back. Yeah. It's
like, let's talk about
in any field. I mean, you can get a hold of anybody 24/7, basically.
Let's talk about something that makes like why we're different a little bit, because I think it's important to kind of highlight that. Like, the way we think about things is we look at these as like, these are all use cases. These are all scenarios. We've come up with a fancy name for it, Jason. We call them VAPers, voice application, voice apps by Thinkrr, right? Voice application by Thinkrr, VAPers. These rappers/VAPers, they're built to make your life easy to just deploy for a single use case. So if you want a scheduler that can qualify, use our qualifier scheduler. If you want to follow up with a client, use the follow-up client. Here's the thing that's really interesting. We, on a regular basis, are adding more and more of these VAPers to our portfolio. Why? Because the demand and the simplicity of what we've built is now just, people are getting it. And they just want something that's pre-baked that they can use over and over and over again, because you do the same thing over and over again, same kind of calls over and over again. And you're just changing the context and the content of what you're doing there, right?
Yeah.
So it's phenomenal. Like, the simplicity of which we've tried to make the experience, there's nobody who's doing that.
Yeah, I mean in terms of like you see a lot of like the intake, but to do the intake, the site widget, and then the I don't like to call it a site widget. I always call it a site concierge or like a customer service rep, just because a widget or bot sounds kind of still has that maybe a negative connotation to it. But it's like, hey,
Yeah.
how'd you like a 24/7 concierge on your website, that never has to take a bathroom break and delivers great customer service? That's a perks the ears a little bit more than like, hey, I'm going to throw a bot on your website or a widget or whatever. And it's remarkable. And then these, in our space too, we're really heavy on going after like B2B businesses with outdated marketing practices. So when I show them the data that we provide that can help their sales team or their business development team, and then I say, hey, and then, they're like, oh, I don't even know if we can handle all those leads. I was like, no problem, we can, and then the ears really start perking up where it's like, oh my gosh, I could increase our volume, increase our outgoing volume 5 to 10 folds. So now my sales team isn't sitting there bitching about bad leads and cold leads and, blah, blah, blah. They're just literally picking up the phone for people that are already interested in what they sell. It's remarkable. I can't believe I didn't think about the internal application. I'm still in the back of my mind. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like,
you're somewhere in your thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I'm in the back of my mind. I was like, I got people to call after this. It's some of these bigger businesses that we've been in contact with, they're still, communicating with, or already work with. Yeah. The internal application process or training process, coaching process. And then, on the call with Raul, on the last call we did, he was talking about finding a partner to role play with, but then, you got to show up for the calls. You have to have somebody. And the thing too is when you're constantly role playing with like one person, a lot of the times you're getting a similar type of answer or feedback. I mean, people's brains are wired already, right? I mean, I'm 45, my shit's wired, whether I want to admit it or not. So to have those different, you could say, hey, give me a call that has a negative person, a positive person, somebody that's not interested, somebody that's a freaking asshole or whatever you want to say.
I really love that you said that, because the vision that I have is that, you should be able to tap into easily your brain into somebody else's brain, because that is where the differentiation happens. That's where you can learn, where you can grow, you can speak to a different person. So imagine a marketplace where you can talk to different kinds of agents, and you can pick the one you want to do today because you want to have a different, tap into something that you yourself don't see, right? Role play with an agent that was defined by Jason versus Mohan versus, let's say, Reza, right? These are different agents that you could talk to, and everybody's going to do slightly different tweaking. And guess what will happen as a result of role playing with these different types of agents from different people? You now are getting your skills are getting sharper. It's very real life, right?
Yeah. Imagine if like you had a big sales call, right? You had a big presentation tomorrow, CEO of XYZ company. You could literally go in and design a bot to mimic that person and practice your sales pitch, practice your rebuttals. And like, you could walk into that call, it's kind of, like Kobe Bryant. He's just like, it's easy for me to do what I do on the court, or Michael Jordan, because they've already done it 10,000 times in the practice when nobody's looking. Well, you now have that opportunity to do that. Like, it's easy for me to talk to a CEO of a Fortune 500 company and not be nervous, because I've literally already talked to this guy, 100 times over the last couple of days in practice. And it's, that's pretty remarkable.
Let me ask you a question. You do sales a little bit, right?
Yeah, every once in a while.
Every once in a while. Okay. So, what's the famous rebuttal that you get from when you go in, you tell somebody, they want to tell you not now. They go, I got to speak to the spouse. Right? That's generally what they say. And then you bring the partner on, and the dynamics change tremendously, right? Imagine if you can role play with both spouse on the call.
Oh, you have two people?
Imagine you can role play both of them.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. I'm thinking like, from a home services standpoint, or, everybody's selling solar nowadays, where it's like, sell the husband and then bring in the skeptical wife all at the same time.
or you're in enterprise sales, and you're going to be speaking to the head of marketing, the head of product, and the CEO at the same time in the same room. I've been in that role. I know that happens all the time. They're all going to have different concerns, different priorities, and different things. Imagine you can go into practice and role play for that. Practice your pitch, do the whole presentation.
And then on the flip side, what was cool, we've been on a couple demos with a partner of ours talking to political candidates.
Yep.
So they have like 4 or 5 people on the call, and then they're testing the one AI bot, and we'll tell them, hey, we'll tell the AI bot, hey, there's about 4 or 5 people on this call. They're all going to ask questions, one at a time.
We were on that call together. I know.
Yeah, exactly. So we've been on a couple since then even, and she'll separate, and then once she starts recognizing voices, she'll know if Joe's talking to her, or Phil, or Debbie, or Kelly, and then everybody answers questions. And then, she's answering complicated questions from 5 different people on a demo call, and very strategically. We had one political candidate, it's like, these policies are better than my own policies. Like, I can't talk about my own policies as good as this AI, this voice AI, concierge widget, whatever you want to call her, is talking about my policies. Like, it's remarkable. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, and I know we maybe only got about another 5 minutes left. I don't want to hog up your whole day here, but it's a regenerative AI, right? So the more conversations the AI has, the better it gets, the more it learns. Correct?
That's correct.
So now imagine an employee that you don't have to is always being trained, right? Because that's another thing when you're from an employer standpoint. It's like you train one person up, and then now you have to train somebody else, or you have to, that person leaves your company, and now you have to bring somebody else and start from scratch. Imagine an employee that is always getting better, that's never ever going to quit.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think this is still a very, very nascent space. It's definitely noticeable that there is some of that training and learning happening, but it can happen much more effectively. And that's something, again, if you look at where I think things are going in the next 12 months, it's definitely where there's going to be a lot of focus, is how to make it even more smarter, how it taps into not just the phone calls that you're making, but it taps into all of the calls that all of your agents and all the different people you're talking to, and how does it use that, right? So it's going to become like phenomenal the way it's going to handle objections. It's going to learn what worked well, what did not work well, right? And that's where things get really, really interesting, because now you have, your super duper knowledgeable AI expert on the call with you every time.
Yeah. Crazy. Honestly, you definitely got my wheels turning here.
Then I did my job. Good. Okay.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if my wheels are turning, the viewers' wheels are turning. We'll get this all over social media. I'll tag you in it, and we'll get this out to as many people as possible. And definitely love to have you on. I know you're a busy guy, so maybe in 30. What's going to be fun is we'll have you on again in about 60 days. And then we'll be able to compare, like, hey, where were we at 60 days ago to where we're at now, and I think that's going to be really cool. So
very, very cool. Yeah. We can
any other final thoughts?
The only final kind of thought is what we said from the very onset, is like, don't sleep on this. Like, this is absolutely not only is it like something you don't want to miss as an opportunity, because it is game changing. It's so much fun. I'm having the best time of my life. Honestly, the ideas, the wheels are spinning. We just can't keep pace with all the things that we want to do. That's just the truth of it. And the innovation in the space is phenomenal, right? So I hope, when we talk about voice AI, the name Thinkrr.Ai remains synonymous with that and continues to grow.
Yeah, that's amazing. Really appreciate your time. Tell Reza thanks for letting us peel you away for a few minutes. I'm sure you'll be, back at work, cracking the whip here in a second. Yeah, we appreciate everybody's time. If you have any,
I'm glad you know who cracks the whip around here, because I still think it's me. It's not me.
There you go. But yeah, reach out to myself at dataaccelerator.ai. You can test out our AI bot at any time, or our AI concierge, Thinkrr.Ai. And yeah, we can't wait to talk to everybody soon. Hopefully everybody found value in this episode, and stay tuned next week for another one. Take care, everyone.